And for more on that Phase 1 trade deal signed at the White House today, we do want to bring in Florida Senator Rick Scott. Thanks so much for joining us today, Senator.
Well, it's nice to be here. I want to thank the president. I want to thank Bob Lighthizer for all his efforts, all their efforts to try to help American workers. But my concern is, China's never complied with this stuff. They've never opened up their markets. They've always stolen our technology. They're selling fentanyl into our country. They're human rights violators. So I'm glad that we're trying, and I want to thank the president for trying to help American workers. But I don't believe China's going to comply with this. I don't think there's any chance. Nothing's really, they haven't really changed anything. Let's remember, it's Communist China. Xi is the General Secretary of the Communist Party. He's not somebody that you would normally do a deal with.
You mentioned there are issues with enforcing this deal. President Trump saying that tariffs will not be lifted on China until Beijing can prove that it is complying with this deal. What can the U.S. do to further enforcement mechanisms in Phase 1?
Well, I think the president's been doing the right thing. I think the tariffs are the right thing. Now, I think any money we receive in tariffs, we ought to give back to the American taxpayer in tax credits at the end of each year. So I have a bill on that and trying to get that passed. So I think the president's doing the right thing to try to hold them accountable. But they've agreed not to steal our technology before, and they kept doing it. And let's remember, they have 1 million people in prison just for their religion right now. They've tried to take away the basic rights of Hong Kong citizens. They're threatening the Taiwanese citizens right now with their rights. So this is not somebody you have to sit there and say, oh, I know they're going to do the right thing here, because their history is they don't do the right thing. So I want to thank the president and Bob Lighthizer for what they're trying to do. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they'll start changing and try to be a country that fulfills obligations. It's just not what they've done in the past.
Looking forward to Phase 2 talks, with which the White House says are supposed to begin immediately after Phase 1 is implemented. President Trump saying that those negotiations will be focused on more structural changes in Beijing. What changes do you think are key for Phase 2 to be successful following Phase 1?
Are quite a bit bigger than trade. First off, they've got to open up their markets. They've got to comply with the WTO, which they agreed to decades ago. They've got to stop forcing transfer of technology. They've got to stop selling fentanyl. Think about it. They follow every citizen in their country, but they can't figure out where that fentanyl is being produced that they sell here and kill American citizens. They've got to stop putting 1 million people in prison for their religious beliefs. They stop taking away their kids and sending them to boarding schools. Stop detaining people and taking away their organs. Stop trying to take away the basic rights. So I could go on and on and on about the things that China's doing. Stop helping Maduro commit genocide down in Venezuela. There's so many things that she is doing that you'd say, how can we have any belief this guy is going to be a partner in any way with America? He is not a partner with America. He's not an ally. He's an adversary. I want American workers to get in a better position. Buy American products. We need to do everything we can to help American workers. I want more jobs in this country.
Ahead of the signing of this Phase 1 deal, the Treasury Department did lift the designation on China as a currency manipulator, saying that they do not believe they are a currency manipulator. Do you agree with that decision?
No, they're clearly a currency manipulator. They play every game under the sun. They subsidize their companies. There's articles out there that saying they've given Huawei to compete with our companies as much as $75 billion. So this is a communist country that is trying to take away American jobs, selling fentanyl into our country to kill our citizens. They build a military to defeat our military. They promised President Obama they wouldn't militarize the South China Sea. Then they did. So they do this stuff and then just think we're naive enough to forget. I hope President Trump, and I don't believe President Trump's going to forget. I think he's going to hold them accountable. And I think, unfortunately, I'd love to get more trade. I'm not optimistic about this deal.
All right, Florida Senator Rick Scott there joining us live from Capitol Hill to talk about the Phase 1 trade deal signed today between the U.S. and China. Thanks so much, Senator.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.